What if the biggest thing standing in between you and the life that you want isn't a lack of education, money, opportunity, or experience? What if it's that you've been taught not to trust yourself? I know that's a bold statement for a lot of people. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Kiki Limitless. I've built a seven-figure mediation career without a degree. I've helped over 1,500 clients resolve conflict through mediation, and I have trained hundreds of mediators around the world. And I've become convinced that most people aren't struggling because they lack information. They're struggling because they've been conditioned to ignore their own intuition. And if I had to credit my success to three things, it wouldn't be my experience, and it definitely wouldn't be my education because I don't have a degree. In fact, the three biggest lessons that built my seven-figure mediation career have absolutely nothing to do with mediation. So the first is that nobody is coming to save you. And I learned that long before I ever became a mediator. And this was like a recurring theme throughout my life. Whenever something needed to get done, I learned very quickly that it was probably going to be me who got it done. If something needed to change, it's going to be me who changed it. And anytime I was ever waiting for someone to show up and fix the problem and provide the opportunity for me, or hand me the answer to something, or even just tell me what to do, they never came. And what's fascinating is that I see people do this every single day, right? Like they get sick and they immediately just pull out their app, they book an appointment with the doctor because they need someone to tell them what is wrong with their body. And if they feel stuck, they immediately go and ask, five random different people for advice, even if they know what to do, right? Most people who want to start a business, they spend 6 months consuming content instead of just taking action and doing the thing. They're constantly looking outside of themselves for answers that they already know. Okay. So I'm not saying don't get help from other people. I'm saying stop acting like you are completely powerless because you're not. And I think that a lot of women have been convinced and conditioned to distrust themselves. And we've been taught that, somebody else knows better than us, right? The expert knows better. The school knows better. The authority knows better. The algorithm knows better than me. And meanwhile, your intuition has been right more times than you can count, right? Like you knew when the relationship was not for you. You knew when the job was wrong. You knew when the opportunity was wrong. You knew the answer, but you just didn't trust yourself enough to act on it. And so the moment I stopped waiting for someone else to save me, that was the moment that my entire life transformed. Okay. So the second lesson is that the rules are all made up, guys. Okay. And before somebody gets offended, and I know somebody will, so I'll catch you in the comments, let me just explain. Okay. I grew up believing that shame and judgment ruled the world. Okay. That if people disapproved of something, then you shouldn't do it. Right. That if something wasn't conventional, that it's got to be wrong. And if everybody else was going one direction, then that's probably the direction that you should go to. But from a very young age, I started paying attention and I realized, okay, something's wrong here, okay? The people making the rules, they're not happier, they're not wealthier, they're not more free than me. They didn't have the life that I wanted, okay? And yet somehow those people still feel qualified to tell everybody else how they should live. And so I remember making decisions in my life that, everybody around me thought was crazy. My family questioned me, they judged me, they warned me, right? And they told me all the reasons why this is not going to work out. And honestly, those same people, 15 years later, they're now telling me how smart I am and how brave I was and how I was right the entire time, right? Like funny how that works out. And so people are going to call you crazy until your results make them so uncomfortable, you're undeniable, right? And then they're just going to start calling you the visionary, the person who knew it all along. Okay. So the truth is that most of the limitations and the ceilings that people live under are just completely self-imposed. Okay. So once I stopped organizing my life around other people's approval, right? Everything expanded. Okay. And the third thing is that, and this one is probably the one that built my career more than anything else, is just say yes first. Figure it out later. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have a successful mediator that was willing to show me how to build a practice and do all the things the right way. Okay. I didn't have somebody who handed me the roadmap, right? Like when I entered this industry, I was figuring out things in real time, case by case, client by client, consult by consult, okay, mistake by mistake. And because I didn't have somebody else's limitations, I also didn't inherit somebody else's beliefs on what was possible for me and my business and my life and my bank account. Okay. So I tried things, I tested things out, and I definitely questioned everything around me until I figured it out and I built my own systems and I built my own frameworks and my own approach to this work. And so over the last 15 years, I've used those systems to help more than 1,500 clients to resolve their conflict through mediation and to go on. And, I've trained hundreds of mediators around the world. And it's not that I know everything, but it's just because of this one thing. I was willing to move before I ever felt ready. Okay. Most people are just waiting for the confidence and for the confirmation and for the sign. And honestly, when I started, I was 18 years old. I wasn't confident, right? Like I didn't know people. I didn't have connections. I didn't come from a wealthy family. Most people are just waiting for certainty, right? Like most people are waiting to be certain that they will be successful, that they will make the money, that they will land the cases and they will do a good job before they ever take action. The one thing that I was not was certain. Okay. Most people, when they wait for permission, and I stopped asking for permission a long time ago. Okay, guys. So ultimately, this is why I actually built Millionaire Mediator Academy is because, I spent years figuring out things the hard way in this industry. And so, I had to figure out the systems and the frameworks, the assessments, and, how to get clients, right? The client acquisition strategy. What are the things that actually produce real results for clients inside of mediation? And now, instead of, making other people wait 15 years or spend 15 years learning what I learned, now, I'm happy to just hand people the roadmap, right? So if you've watched this far and something inside of you is saying, okay, there has to be more for me than this, the life that you're currently living, I want you to do this one thing. I've linked all of my resources down below this video, and I'm going to walk you through. Okay, I'm going to be your mediator bestie. I'm going to be the mentor for you that I wish that I had. So I'm going to walk you through exactly, what do mediators do, and how do we get paid, and how does this industry work, and how everyday people, ordinary people, are building these extraordinary, meaningful, flexible, purposeful careers just by helping other people to resolve conflicts. Okay, so go down below, tap below, see what's going to be best for you based on where you are in your path. And if this video challenged the way that you think, make sure you subscribe because I've got a lot more to say about this industry, conflict, communication, leadership, and just building a life on your own terms. See you in the next video.